Hello, everyone. I'm back. This is the Portable RN where we talk about disease processes, anything health in a more simplified fashion. Today, I wanted to talk about diabetes. This is a condition, a disease that is becoming more and more common in many populations. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I wanted to simplify basically what it is. I went over this scenario with my 13-year-old daughter, and she caught it just like that. And I kind of took advantage of having a conversation because just like other teens, she may find herself getting into sweets. Whether they're coming from the house, no matter if we try to regulate them, they're getting on the outside at school. Okay, so I just wanted her to be more mindful of her taking in sweets. So here we go. So imagine we had this cup of water and we poured it along all the outside of your house. The question I have for you is, will your house flood? Easy answer, right? The answer is no. This is not enough water to flood your house. What if I took 6 bathtubs worth of water and poured it around the outside of the house every 6 days? Will it flood your house? Probably not. It'll be a little muddy, but most likely not. The grass will soak it up. It'll do its job. The sun will soak it up. It'll figure it out. Now, what if you had a Category 5 hurricane over your house for a period of months? Sounds a little worse, right? It is. So what diabetes is, it's just a chronic, long-term effects of your blood sugars remaining in your blood circulation system. It overwhelms the body. It can't take it. It can't regulate it for whatever reasons. The organ inside of our body that regulates that is able to withstand and deal with the high amounts of sugars in our body is called the pancreas. It lies right here on the right side, the main part of it. Looks kind of like a tongue, and it travels over this way, okay, in our body. And it has different cells in it that controls and regulates how much sugar remains in our bloodstream. It produces insulin. Insulin is the equivalent of having the key to the house. It is the key that opens up the door into our cells. Cells are found everywhere in our body. Our whole body is made up of cells. Heart cells, brain cells, liver, kidneys, everything. It opens up the door to allow the sugar in. Now let's trade that sugar into something a little bit more complex. I said I'll make it simple, but it's time to graduate. Sugar, the medical term is called glucose. So now that glucose is able to go inside the cells, and the importance of glucose in our body, it is a form of energy for our body. And you know one of the main things that needs the glucose more than the others? Our brains. Our brains are very sensitive to the amount of glucose we have in our body. And so that's why sometimes, like when we don't eat and our body isn't taking in those nutrients, the glucose, and we're lacking in glucose, we could become a little bit confused, probably hard for you to concentrate, things like that. So glucose is very important. So glucose can be a good thing, but it's a bad thing when it's over time. Just like I said with the water. Water's not bad. It's going to water your grass. It's going to provide nutrients to your plants to flow a lot better amongst the roots. But a hurricane, long term, too much of anything is never good for you. So I hope I provided a better understanding of how diabetes works, a better visual. So I wanted to address a couple of things that I've written down, just to kind of clarify some certain points of diabetes. Diabetes is gradual. And what that means is you don't get it in one day. I know I said it's an overwhelming of the system of sugars, but it's not something that just happens in one day. It's not from eating a whole cake or a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi, okay? So I want you to understand it's just the gradualness, I just made up that word, of overwhelming the system with sugars. 2, sugar is not just a sweetener in your cabinets. It can be found in other things. So it's important to understand when I say sugar, and as I said, replace it with the word glucose, it can be found in other things. Okay, my list here, I wrote down sugary drinks. So even like fruit juices, they don't even have real sugar. It's just an immediate amount, quick release of sugars concentrated in one spot. So sugars, sweet drinks like Kool-Aid, even apple juice, sodas, things like that. You can always find on the back of the bottle. Even worse when it says high fructose corn syrup. White flour, anything made with white flour, and that's including like making your gravies. If there's white flour in it, that's a risk that it could be breaking down into sugars. White sugar, obviously, white rice. Some other direct examples are breads, muffins, cakes, crackers, pastas, cookies. Always the good stuff. The other thing I want you to know, that your blood vessels are a highway for sugar. So basically, you can imagine your veins and your arteries, the things that carry your blood, like a highway. So your car is not meant to stay on the highway. Same thing like sugars. It's not meant to stay in your bloodstream. It has a final destination. Your family needs you for a home, right? You're more productive being on the home instead of the highway. So that's what insulin does. It has those little outlets, opens the door to get you to home off the highway, okay? The other thing is insulin is the key to opening up doors. So it's the same thing. We can use the home as an example, that insulin is the key to open a door so that you can get inside of your home. The next thing that can affect you becoming diabetic are what you call trans fats. Now, I had to look this up myself. Like, I just kind of wrapped it up and I was like, anything that tastes good causes diabetes. But it's a lot of stuff that tastes good. If you kind of get into healthy eating and you want to really change your lifestyle and really change the way you eat, there's a lot of good people out there on YouTubes and wrote different books that talk about just creating dishes from healthy foods. But back to trans fats. So what it does is affect that layer around our cells. Remember I said that the sugar has to have access to get inside the cells, and the insulin is the door opener to let the sugar into the cells. And again, the cells need that for energy to do different things. Remember, your heart is made of cells. It must beat properly. Your lungs are made of cells. It must breathe and take in oxygen properly. So those things need that to function. So sugars are good. Glucose is good. Glucose is good. And so if everybody could get in your house, or not enough people could get in your house to make things work at work, you know, a hospital, let's say a hospital can be ran by one doctor. UPS can be ran by one truck driver. So you need enough to be able to get inside. It can't just sit out on the highway. It needs to get off, have the insulin key, go in the house to let things go in and function. The other thing is that I found surprising on the list was red meats, which goes back to the trans fats, saturated fats that affects the outside lining. So just to give another scenario, when you check into a hotel, they give you what? A key card. And it's a key to get in, but what happens when our cell phone touches it? It's not working properly, right? I don't have as easy access to get in. I have to go through some things, get access to be able to get inside my room. So you can think of trans fats or even red meats, the saturated fats that are found in red meat. You could think of it as the key card that doesn't work or doesn't work properly. But those are the things I want to talk about to go along with this video so that you have a better visual of what diabetes is and the things that can make it worse and lead up to it. So it's chronic, meaning that it takes a long time to get there, which is a good thing. So you can take this information and just work on those things or work towards those eating habits to prevent it from happening, or even start early with your kids. I know in the summer things sound good to keep them hydrated, to have a Capri Sun or sometimes these sugary drinks, but you're creating lifelong habits that ultimately may lead them up to there. So that's it. I just want to thank y'all for those who stayed and listened. I hope that you were blessed by this video and you found some understandings of things that you may not have known before. If this is something you want to continue to listen to as far as simplified explanations of disease processes, I welcome you to come back. And I thank you for all those who subscribed so far. Thank you and have a blessed day.